Welcome everyone to Coaching this session. My name is Michael Rearden, and I'll be your mindset coach today. Today we're going to be talking about human nature. Now, human nature is going to be talking about who we were, who we are now, and then who we possibly could be in the future. Because it's important for us to understand how we're moving so we can move accordingly. If you're new to the channel, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and to share this video and your audio. So the most recent blog that came out is called Human Nature. If you're familiar with the podcast, on Mondays, we talk about the recent blog that comes out the day before. On Sundays, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Now, when you're reading these blogs, it's going to offer a bunch of wisdom, a bunch of different knowledges for you to understand about the idea, the topic that we're talking about. Today, we're going to be talking about human nature. But there's several blogs that we talk about, career, relationships, you name it, we talk about it. What we're trying to do is to give you a different type of mindset, where we're always trying to give you the key to lock some door, give you the solution to solve some problem in your life. Because if you understand how you're moving, then you can say, well, this is the problem, this is the problem. Now, that's what I do as a coach. I help people understand the problems that they have. Human nature sometimes can make that difficult because we know about human nature. We like easy. People want easy. The brain wants easy. It doesn't want anything hard. It doesn't want anything difficult. But in life, if we want something really worth it, we have to go through that ringer sometimes. Sometimes you can get lucky, right? Win the lotto, maybe silver spoon type of person. You have parents who were go-getters and now you don't have to work a day in your life. Depending on your situation is going to be, are you going to have to push in life or can you just cruise through life? Most people are going to have to push their way just to make ends meet. That rat race mentality type of thinking. However, we don't have to live in that rat race. We can choose to be abundant. The problem is we have to understand human nature. We have to understand ourselves as people. And when we can understand who we are, then we can start to make changes for our life. So let's get into that blog, Human Nature, and then let's start to dissect that. If you're new to the podcast, you can always head over to revenconcepts.com to see the most recent blog. You just head over to the resources tab, click blogs, and then you will see the new or the most recent blog, which is going to be Human Nature. Now, if you're watching on YouTube, it will be in the description box, so you can just click the link, go straight to the blog. Or if you're an audio listener, in the description box below, whether you be on Apple, Spotify, etc., you will find the blog link also. So you can easily get to the blog, and this is great reading material for you to understand. I believe it's about a 6 or 7 minute read if you can read very quickly. If not, you're going to be looking at like a 10-15 minute read. So depending on your reading level, your reading skill, it could take you some time to read it. Some blogs are very lengthy, but this blog is always just right. So as humans, we want to feel good. We want to feel safe. We want to feel secure in what we are and who we're becoming. There's many different aspects that we look at to make sure we are doing the right thing. Now, there's a problem, though, with human nature. Human nature is going to be dealing with our evolution in a sense. If we look at what we were accomplishing in our life prior to modern society, modern day and age, we are going to notice something very unique. And that is we evolve. We are going to be more than what we were at some point. And we're at that threshold right now in our evolution where we have a lot of things that have automated our life, where it's so easy. For example, use dating as an example. Before, you would have to go out, find your mate, court them. And then now you have them. But now all the thing you have to do is swipe left or swipe right and maybe have some similarities. Guess what? Times are changing. But are they changing for the better? Because we went from people who were hunters and gatherers and we knew how to start fires and to find shelter and to do all these things that were for our survival. But now if we get a flat tire, we're waiting for someone to come save us. It's a different way of being. Our mentality has changed. But has it changed for the better? And human nature is going to be talking about the social emotional aspect of who we are as people. Meaning we understand that we are people. We want to feel good. We know other people want to feel good. Yet we have left that cordial type of mentality, that community-based type of mentality, that tribe-like mentality. And we have a very individualistic type of mentality. And we talked about it in the different types of cultures in our last blog, where we're talking about, well, are we operating as a whole or are we operating as an individual? Well, most people are so concerned about themselves. Now, that's not to say you don't worry about your family or if you have a spouse or kids, you worry about them too, right? But we're very individualized. In a sense, we become desensitized as humans. We can watch someone get punched or stabbed and we go, oh my God, that's crazy. versus before someone would be in fear for their life. The brain has become accustomed to that type of violence. Now, of course, we can sum it up to video games and things like that. But we really have to understand what is our human nature teaching us or has told us over the generations and their years. Well, we need to understand one important thing about human nature, and that is we have the ability to create whatever type of mindset we want for our evolution, for our success. We were, again, people who would work together as a whole, but now we're very individualized. Now that is also causing us to look at our own emotions, our own inadequacies, and then have a difficult time trying to figure out, do I make a move in my life? Well, sometimes people don't make moves in their life, and it's summed up to courage. Well, I'm not courageous. I don't know something. There's always an excuse for taking action, but if someone else does wrong, then it's always their fault. Well, the idea of human nature is going to be looking at, well, who we were, who we are, and then where we will be. Because if we can understand that, we're going to be in a better situation. We have evolved from our fight or flight, looking for shelter, building fires, being hunters and gatherers. We have evolved from that. But now we're living in a different type of situation. What will that situation bring if we keep going down this path? So let's dive into that. I love the concept of human nature when it comes to looking at the body as a whole. Well, we understand we want easy. The brain wants to conserve energy and that we like nice things. The brain is naturally negative. Also, that's another thing that we are naturally wired to. If we see rustling in the bush, we say, uh-oh, there's something in there that's going to hurt me. And it's better for us to think that than, oh, it's probably just a rabbit. Yeah, we can pretend, right? We can say that there's nothing in there that won't kill us and this could be a grizzly bear and then we're in a world of hurt. But we have to start to look at something different. That negativity, how do we get rid of it? Is it important today, right? Well, it's not as important today as it used to be. Because if you're not going to be going out in the wilderness and looking for snakes and looking for crocodiles and looking for bears and mountain lions, you're probably going to be okay if you hear some birds in a bush or a squirrel in a bush. They're probably not going to come attack you. They're more afraid of you than you're afraid of them. However, we are bred to hear that rustling in the bush and get nervous. What is there? Is there a dog? Is there something that's going to harm me? Well, that is our basic survival instinct. That is going to be inbred into our DNA. How can we get rid of that? Well, it's going to be very difficult to get rid of it. It's going to take maybe millions more years of us to live in a plush society to not see that negativity of that bush moving and us having a inlet fear of something's going to hurt us. But what happens when we have that negativity or our brain is naturally wired to negative is that we allow negativities in our life. We allow negativities to rule us. So if someone says something bad about us, they give us a harsh critique, they are maybe mean to us in the comments on our social media accounts, maybe they didn't invite us to a party or a gathering, we feel left out. We feel hurt. However, just because someone does something or says something to us doesn't necessarily mean we have to automatically go into this world of negative. Again, we are naturally hardwired to focus on that negative. So we're going to focus on that negative no matter what. So that means we're going to look at the negative, not see the positive, not see the silver lining, and then we're going to allow it to eat at us for an hour, a day, or whatever. Because if you're familiar with emotions, emotions are meant to last 90 seconds. Doesn't matter what emotion, fear, happiness, love. 90 seconds, that's typically what it's going to last. Now, we can force it to last longer. But how often do we allow our emotions to last longer for the negative? Oh, someone doesn't like me. I'm going to think about it for a whole day. I'm going to ruminate on this. You might have a happy moment, happy feeling if someone gave you a birthday card and you're like, oh, I love this birthday card. Thank you so much. How long does that last compared to someone gave you a card that they said they don't like you? The difference is so vast, about 3 times the difference. You're more likely to be 3 times more unhappy and negative than you are to be positive in any situation. So if we understand that we're going to be more prone to negativity than being positive, how can we start to implement the processes to reverse that? Well, I have good news. We do have a way. We do have an understanding of the brain well enough that we can change how we think. That's going to be diving into neuroplasticity. And neuroplasticity is not as easy as it sounds. Well, neuroplasticity sounds pretty bad too. But we have a choice when we are given a situation to let that situation define us or to let that situation refine us. So in the beginning, you're going to allow those negativities to hurt you, right? You get used to it. You almost become numb because of it. But after that numbness has dissipated and you're figuring out, okay, well, this is what I want to do, or this is what needs to happen. Maybe it happens again in a week. The same feelings come up, but you can tell your brain something. Hey, this happened before and I was fine. I turned out okay. I'm actually doing better than I was before. We are now engaging our subconscious mind. We have a conscious mind that looks at the negative. Oh no, this is so terrible. This person doesn't like me, blah, 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 blah. Well, guess what? We can say, oh, well, we're fine. We don't need that person to survive. We don't need that person to live. We don't need that person to love us or to make us feel happy. We can do that on our own. So when we start to take back our power, in a sense that we're giving our power away to human nature without our knowing, without our consent, it's just biological. We can say, you know what? I'm not going to be fearful if someone doesn't like me, if someone leaves me a negative comment or someone says something bad. And it's not so much of ignoring it. I remember when I was a kid, we would always have a saying, sticks and stones can break my bones, but words can never hurt me. Or I'm rubber, you're glue. Whatever you say bounces off of me and sticks back to you. It's an easy way for us to make us feel better. To say those words that you say that might hurt us or bring us some type of harm are only hurting you. But when you're young, you don't understand the subconscious mind as much as you think you do. You might have an understanding of the subconscious mind, but your brain is just not evolved yet enough to understand that. Now, of course, there can be some outliers where kids are in that type of mindset, but the majority of kids, students are going to be looking at that peer acceptance. It is part of human nature. We want to be accepted. We want to be in a group of people. We want to be in a tribe because that means survival. If I'm in a group, I survive. Look at high school. You can see that people herd in groups. High school, you're going to have your popular kids and your nerds. College, you're going to have your different types of majors. I'm hanging out with the doctors. I'm hanging out with the nurses. I'm hanging out with the engineers. I'm not hanging out with the music kids if I'm going to be in business finance. Now, that's not to say that you can't hang out with the artistic kids if you are in a different type of subject. Or if you're in one science, that you can't hang out with kids in the other science. So you determine what type of life you want to live or what type of friends you want to have. But oftentimes we collude with people who have the same type of mentality, the same type of goals. But now our human nature goals are different. Before, human nature goals were how can we survive? How can we get food, water, shelter? Now we're starting to think, well, how can we get love? How can we make our life easy? How can we create abundance, right? So we're looking at, we want easy. We want all these good things, but no work to it. And then, of course, we want to feel good at the end of the day. The problem is we need to have some type of hardship, some type of action in order for us to really embellish what we have. It's the yin and yang type of aspect when we're trying to go through things. You focus on the good, you could focus on the bad. But if you have all the good, then you don't necessarily know how good you have it. That's the idea of being grateful. For example, I have a roof over my head. I have food in my pantry and my fridge. I have clean drinking water. I have a garden that's full of abundance and vegetables and fruits. I can easily say that my life is miserable when someone is starving with no roof over their head, cold, freezing, trying to figure out how to survive just one more day. We often forget just how much we have in our life, especially here in the West, especially in first world countries where we have it easy. We throw away more food than we eat. Yet we're worried about winning the lotto. We're worried about someone likes us. We're worried about having all of these wonderful things in life and trying to figure out the easiest way to get it. And I'm not saying that we can't be smart in how we move in life. You should be efficient in how you move and how you think, because there is a smart way to move and there is a way that you can become abundant and not have to break your back. But the idea of hard work has kind of went by the waysides, and now people look for easy. And then we start to look at where we're going to be in the future. Well, I know if we look on storefronts where they have help wanted, they are looking for people who are going to be good and efficient workers. They want people who are going to work, not people who are just going to hang around and hope things come to them. In our society today, we are raising a generation of plush-minded individuals. That means they have it easy. They don't necessarily have to worry about many things, even less things than we probably had to worry about when we were growing up. And that is because we are evolving in our human nature. What happens is that we might have went through tough times. So our mentality is that I don't want to give my kid that life. So we don't. We make that life as easy as possible for that child. When in reality, we should allow them to struggle so they can learn their bad and then create their good, versus not understand or see their good, their worth, and then they just see the bad. Perception and circumstances are going to be one of the drivers that human nature is going to have an effect on all these new minds. That's why we have a work epidemic where people don't want to work. It's easier to stay at home and have Uncle Sam send you an unemployment check, or to live off mom or dad, live in the basement or in the attic or wherever you're going to be. It is easy to be us right now. But in reality, that makes us weaker in the end. So if we understand that human nature, we have to be strong for survival, only the fittest survive. The strong and the fit will survive. Well, what would happen in a world if everyone became weak? Not just physically only, but mentally. Because if you are in a situation where maybe you were enslaved, or if you lost all of your freedoms, all your rights, all of your pleasantries and all of your money and your foods and your safety and security, I mean, you name it, right? You lost everything. Could you survive? Oftentimes, many people are going through the scrumming up. My life is so bad. It's miserable. It can't be fixed. We're getting into that negative type of mindset again. It is easy to be negative. It is more difficult to be positive, or to see the positive, or to change your brain to see the positive. But you can make that change. So how can we start to transition our mind to be more positive, to think more abundantly? And this blog, Human Nature, is going to be talking about who we were, how we are, and then the changes that we should or could make. Because what we are looking for is an opportunity for ourselves to create meaning. Now, that meaning is going to be individualized to everyone. How do you do it? How do you make sure you're doing the right thing? Well, again, that might be trial and error. That might be getting a coach and figuring out, where am I in life? Figure that out. And then you can start to see, are you making the right moves? Because our human nature right now is showing us exactly how weak we are. Our mindsets are not what they used to be. We always look for someone to come save us rather than looking inward. How can I save myself? And this is not the idea of saying I have to do everything, because the idea of the I mentality is a different situation. I have to do everything. I have to do this. There's no one else that can do it. Only I can do it. Well, you have to, again, learn how to work as a unit, because if you can't work as a unit, you're going to have a difficult time later on, because we are trying to get back to that tribe-like or that community type aspect, where everyone has good intentions for people. Of course, there's going to be people who might not have good intentions for you, or you might not like a group of people, but you don't have to associate with anyone you don't like. I think what happens sometimes is many people forget that they can choose who they keep in their life. Sometimes people keep people, even family members, that are toxic, that are not helpful, that are harmful to our mission, our goals, because we have an opportunity to be more each and every day. And we have to start to see where we are. Are we living in that plush life where we have a roof over our head? We're not grateful for all the things we have. We have food in our belly. We have a career maybe. Because there's someone in the world that looks at your life as perfect. And the problem is, we don't see our life as perfect. But life doesn't have to be perfect for us to enjoy it. It's a journey every single day. And human nature shows us the fight for survival. We have fought for millions and millions of years to be here today. And right now, that fight or that urge to survive is not as strong as it used to be. So people would actually lay down and die before they take up arms and fight for what they believe in. The mindset has changed. The human nature has changed. Our future will change if people don't realize exactly how their mindset is moving. Because if they continue to go down this mindset of having a weak mentality, of having limiting beliefs, it's only a matter of time before someone can control them. Because if we don't know how to get our own food, if we don't know how to survive, if we don't know how to be happy, and there's someone who's offering to do all these wonderful things for us and save us and to make our life easy, we would give up our rights. We would give up our mind. We would give up our dreams, our ambitions, you name it. We would give it to them, all for the sake of being taken care of. The problem with that is you give up your life. You give up what you could have become in order just to be who you are. Life is more than just who you are. You're destined to be someone, and human nature shows it. We fight every single day to survive. What are you fighting for? Ask yourself, what are you fighting for? Why do you wake up in the morning? And it's not because I just woke up. There's a reason why you're waking up. And oftentimes many people choose not to find that reason. But if you decide to find that reason, head over to revenconcepts.com. You can start to begin that process. How can I find my purpose? How can I find my passion? How can I find my why, my reason to live each and every day? And then you're going to start to see the human nature of how you were, how once society was. And then you can start to make actions that are going to be beneficial in the manner of your movement. So if you're moving in a certain way, does it correlate with what you want? Oftentimes, we do the things that are opposite to our dreams and our ambitions because we're looking at the easy path. We're looking at the easy road. We're not looking at the road to our glory or the road to our most desired place in life. We are conditioned again to look at the negative, to look for easy, to look for an excuse, and to not look at us as a driver for our own entire life and for the results that we can attain. Again, current human nature is going to be dependent on you. How is your mind moving? What is your mind telling you? What is your subconscious telling you? Because if it's telling you negative things and you're believing it and you're not adjusting to that negativity, then it's only a matter of time before you're going to be consumed by that negativity. And then you're going to have a more difficult time taking action or getting out of that place of feeling stuck or finding your purpose because you're not going to have any will to live. And if you have any will to live right now, if you have that motive to keep on pushing in life, why not start today? Why not start to change your life for the better? Because you don't have to be another number in life. You don't have to be another person that just walks around aimlessly. You can be something more. You just have to tell yourself what you want to be and then give yourself a course of action to get to the place you want to be. And then you start to see your whole life change. My name is Michael Rearden. I'm a mindset coach. If you have any questions, you can email me coachinginsession@gmail.com. And I will see everyone on the next episode of Coaching in Session. Until then, everyone, take care.